What's going on, everybody? In today's video, what I want to talk about is conformity, groupthink, family, tribes, political parties, and realize how much power these groups of people, the people you hang out with, the people you see on a daily basis, how much power they actually have over you and what you could do to actually break free. Now, the first time I ever experienced this, I remember I was a 17-year-old kid and I had got in trouble with the law. The reason why I got in trouble with the law, I played basketball a lot and I used to carry this backpack around with me. And one day I went into my backpack and, I only took my backpack to the basketball court. I used to fill it up with water bottles. And I found this gold chain in my backpack. And apparently, I didn't know this at the time because I knew nothing about gold chains. Apparently, this gold chain was worth $5,500. And what I ended up doing with it, I didn't know this at the time. What I did was I got rid of it by putting it back on the basketball court because I knew for a fact that's the only place I could have found it. So I realized I just put it there, I left it there, and then forgot about it. But then a couple of weeks later, a dude came up to me asking me about the chain, and I said that, oh, that was your chain. I had it. I actually had it in my backpack. And he started cracking up, and I said, oh, was it expensive? He's like, no, it was just a gift. Well, anyway, a week later, his girlfriend comes down, and she just starts cursing me out. And apparently she thought that I stole the chain and sold it, this and that. And I said, miss, why would I even admit to that? Like, why would I admit to having the chain? Like, I had no idea how much the chain was actually worth and this and that. So long story short, she called the cops on me, filed a report. I ended up having to go to the police station. And because of that, my junior and senior year, I had to work at a Pizza Hut to pay back the $5,500. And I remember while doing this, I was telling my friend Kayvon at the time, he was a high school friend, good kid. I was telling him that this happened to me. He's like, oh man, that's messed up. And he knew what I went through with the cops because the cops tried scaring me. They tried to intimidate me to where they wanted me to admit stuff that I was like, what? They were basically saying that they could arrest me because what I did was abandonment of property. So I was like, okay. I was like, sir, I admitted to it. I could have just lied to the guy and said that I never found it. So, I ended up having to pay the $5,500 over time. But I remember telling my friend Kayvon about that. And that day we planned on going to a basketball court. So Kayvon was a cool, really, really, really cool kid. Very, very nice kid. And we ended up going to a basketball court, hung out with a bunch of kids from our high school. And I remember after the basketball, we went to a McDonald's. And while we were at the McDonald's, I remember because we were in a group and they were getting a little bit rowdy, my friend Kayvon got super, super rowdy to the point where the employees at McDonald's were threatening to call the cops on us. And I kept telling Kayvon, I said, Kayvon, I don't want the cops called because I just got in trouble. I said, I don't want to deal with this shit again with the cops. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it, Lou. And he just kept acting up. And I was so upset because at the time I didn't drive and he had drove me. So what I ended up doing is I just walked out the McDonald's and I sat outside. And eventually the cops did come. And all the cops did was kick them out. And then I remember I got into the car that day with Kayvon right afterwards. And he was right back to cool Kayvon. And I looked at him and after about 5 minutes, I was like, yo, what the fuck was that? He's like, what do you mean? I was like, why did you act like that? And he couldn't really understand what I was saying. But I remember I'm witnessing it. I'm like, yo, this is the first time I ever experienced that where something took over him. Like the group setting, being in that group just pulled him to act in accordance with the group because the group was a little bit rowdy. He started to get rowdy. And it was almost like a show out contest. Who could be the most rowdiest? And I was like, bro, I just told you a couple of hours ago how much trouble I got into. And now here you are acting up and had the cops called on us. Now, nothing happened, but I remember that experience very, very vividly because it's like, what the fuck was that? What pulled them like that? So as I got older and I ended up joining the military, I continue to see this thing amongst groups. Like I could hang out with a person. I was a very, very introverted person. I could hang out with one person who was very, very cool. But the minute we got into a group, like they felt compelled to vibe with the group in a way that wasn't even them, to where their brains would just switch to a different frequency to connect with the tribe or the group. And all of a sudden, they're a completely different person. Now, my question to you is, have you ever experienced something like that? Maybe you've experienced it in yourself. Maybe you're amongst a group of people and you find yourself having to act in accordance with the group and you're not even doing it. It's just like something's pulling you. What is that? Why is it when political parties get together? It's like weird. You could see like if you tell me you're a Republican or you tell me you're a Democrat, I already know like 95% of your beliefs when you're with a group. But for some reason, when I start talking to people and I really, really see what they are about, they're nothing like their beliefs are when they're with the group. It's like they feel conformed to go with the group. You know, I see people who post on social media, particularly like political things. And I'm like, I'm watching them post these things just to conform with a group. And I know they don't even truly believe that, but they're just doing it. They're virtue signaling to their group to say, hey, look, I'm on your team. I'm on the right side of history. And to me, this is one of the most annoying things about humans, that we have this, that we have to feel like we have to conform to the group. And I realize more and more studying biology, neurology, what this is. Basically, what this is a safety mechanism because our brains are still wired from 300,000 years ago. We basically essentially have the same brains from 300,000 years ago when we first evolved into Homo sapiens, when we were hunter gatherers. And we relied on a group to stay safe, to stay alive. And if we didn't do that, we would get killed. What do I mean by this? Like, you ever wonder why people are afraid of public speaking? Like, logically, if you look at it logically, there's nothing to fear about public speaking. You're just standing in front of a group of people and you just start talking. However, what we fear, what the ego, what the mind, what our biology, what our lower nature fears is judgment. And the reason why we fear judgment, because we believe the group of people that are watching us, that's our tribe. And if we mess up amongst the tribe, if we offend somebody, we piss somebody off, essentially, if we piss one or two people off, the whole tribe could turn on us and then they'll kick us out of the tribe to where now we have to live on our own and more than likely we're going to get killed. Now, this is according to 300,000 years ago, where we still, in a way, our brains are still wired to be very, very tribal. Our brains are still wired to be a person who conforms to the group. Now, if you think about Nazi Germany, what you fail to realize is a lot of the Nazis were actually just regular, normal people. A lot of people just think Nazis were just bad guys, right? There was yes, of course, there was Hitler and his group that really, really was at the top, but it was a top-down authority to where the people at the bottom just felt like they had to conform in order to keep themselves safe. It wasn't that they were bad people. They ended up doing really, really bad things, but that doesn't mean they were actually bad people. They were weak people. They were people that were willing to pull the trigger because some guy with a lab coat or some guy with a ranking told you to do it, so you just felt the need to do it. You know, there's a great experiment out there. It's called the Milgram experiment. You should look it up. It's called the Milgram, Milgrim, the Milgram experiment. And basically what this experiment was a bunch of scientists got together and they would put people into a room. And basically the scientists would tell the people that we're trying out this shock learning. Basically, we're trying to see if a person would learn better if they got something wrong and we would shock them. So basically, on the other side of the room was an actor. And basically, whenever they got the question wrong, the scientist would tell the guy in the room to push the button. And it would shock the actor on the other side. Now, the actor, of course, is acting. But what the scientists wanted to see was how far would the person in the chair keep going. And basically, it got to the point where the person on the other side, the actor, when they kept increasing the voltage, was screaming, feeling like he saying, "Oh, you're killing me, you're killing me." And because the scientists just kept saying, "Keep going," because a person with the lab coat, a person of authority, told them to just keep going, keep pushing the button, the person in the chair just felt compelled to do it. And it was a high percentage. It was like 75% of people just agreed to pretty much kill the person on the other side because a person with a lab coat told them to do it. Now, that doesn't make them bad people, but it does make them weak people. And essentially, as a race, humans, individually, we are very, very weak. Think about it. We're very, very vulnerable. If we go out into the nature by ourselves, we're going to get killed. There's lions, there's tigers, there's bears, there's elephants, there's all of these big animals that will kill us. We need a tribe in order for us to survive. Now, that's not true today. In 2025, unfortunately, our brains have not caught up with today's times. And this is why it's really, really hard to break away from family. It's really, really hard to break away from a group. It's really, really hard to break away from friends. You feel compelled to live up to their expectations, to live up to their judgments. Now, how do we break free of that? How do we break free of that? What you got to realize is it's more dangerous now to think with the group. It's more dangerous now to stay with your family if your family thinks a certain way, if they expect you to think a certain way that's not best serving you. One of the things I'm starting to know more and more is that people don't think. People just look to others. There's something called the Overton window, where we kind of just look to our left and look to our right to see what everybody else is thinking, and that's how we act. We don't know how to individually think for ourselves. Now, a great book you could read is called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, which basically Napoleon Hill supposedly has a conversation with the devil and teaches him, the devil basically teaches him the secrets of breaking free from him, breaking free from groupthink, breaking free from family, breaking free from friends. Because now, today in 2025, you're going to have to do it. You have to do it. If you want to really, really live a happier life, a better life, your best life, you have to break free from your friends. Now, how do you do it? You have to realize that staying with the friends group, staying with the family, staying with your political group, staying with even maybe your religion, your faith, it's probably just holding you back. One of the best things you could do is learn to explore other ways of thinking. One of the best martial artists ever, Bruce Lee, he used to say, like, you should be studying multiple disciplines, taking the best from each discipline and discarding what is useless. Okay, so take what's useful, discard what is useless. So how do you break free? How do you get yourself to start thinking for yourself? You have to start studying. You have to start reading books, reading all types of books, studying things, doing different things, doing things outside of your family, outside of your friend group, making friends in all different types of groups. One of my favorite things is I have friends in almost every single group. And I'm able to see how each friend thinks. Now, it's weird because I'm a person, like, usually when I hang out with somebody, their group of friends, they're all alike. And I'm like the outsider. I'm like the exception. I'm like the one friend that's not that, right? So it's weird to see friends that just have one group of friends that are all alike. They all into the same exact thing. They all think the same way. And I get to see that. What you got to be willing to do is have friends in almost every single group. And I'm really, really lucky to be a personal trainer who works with a lot of different people to where I could see different belief systems. I could see different religions, different political ideas, different ideologies, and I could take the best from each, or what I think is the best from each, and start to come to my own conclusion. I could start to think in my own way. Because I think today in 2025, where we're moving into artificial intelligence, to where AI is going to be taking over every single job. And the only thing that you could do, the only thing you could do that really, really stand out in today's day and age is learn to actually think, learn to actually use your brain, learn to think for yourself. Don't try to be a person who on a value scale is a 10 out of 10. Be a person who's one of one. You should be unique. You are unique. There's nobody like you. However, you don't know who you are. So what you got to start doing is start discovering who it is that you truly are. And it's required of you now to spend some time with yourself. Spend some time with your own thoughts. Question your own thoughts. When your thoughts pop up, say, where did that come from? When did I start thinking that? Why do I think like that? Is it because my friends think like that? And when you start doing these little things, you'll have the ability to see outside the box. You'll be the person that's actually able to step outside the box, see the whole freaking picture, and see things as they really are. So that's the video today. It's kind of all over the place. It just came to me. I just wanted to get on here and start talking. I just wanted to share, and hopefully you found some type of value of it. If not, it's fine. It's just a YouTube video, right? So if you like the video, please like. Also comment in the comment section below. And also, if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. Peace.